Hi everyone, my name's Guilbault, and today we have a Spider-Man Renew Your Vows Sketch cover. This is part 1 of 3. The first part is pencils here, and then I have an inking video, and then a color video right afterwards, which I do in Copic markers and Pigma Micron pens. So I'm going to put up some early sketches that I did. I scanned them in, so you can kind of see how I broke down the cover into different ways of how I organize these 3 characters. But this is on Spider-Man Renew Your Vows sketch cover, which is essentially just a normal issue of a comic book, but they wrap a piece of Bristol board around it, which is all blank, and then print the title of the book, which is Renew Your Vows in this case, during the Secret Wars event. So you get the gist of how I lay out a page here, and off this left-hand side you can see the early sketches I went with, where I had them all swinging in from the right. And you see how I break it down, I decide what the eyes are going to look like, what the suits are going to look like, and then here I refined it a bit more, where I had a composition in the middle, and then I had some more pictures of Annie there. And then here's where I came with a final outline, where I'm going to push them all together, but I want each body part laid out to know how I was going to do it. So if you look over back to the right of the cover, you can see I did a big generic shape, and then I kind of peppered in some of the shapes with the arm, the shoulder, and the heads. But now I'm going in and refining them all with the muscle anatomy, and then also the costumes on top of it. If you're curious about my tools, I have them all listed down in the description, and I have a few of them up on the screen here. I use a normal Hi-Uni Mitsu-Bishi 2H lead pencil, a normal eraser you can get from any office supply store or dollar store, and then the special mechanical eraser is very thin. You can see the little metal bit I have there. It's actually a very small eraser that you get on the end of a mechanical pencil, but in one tube, so you can get a bit more accurate with the erasing, and then one big generic block eraser, so I can take out large groups of things that I just need to rework. But if you're not familiar with the Renew Your Vows storyline, essentially it was spun out of the Secret Wars event, where it follows an alternate universe where Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson grew up and then they got married. And they have a child there in the middle named Annie Mae Parker. And Annie has the same spider powers that Spider-Man does. And there was an initial miniseries with art by Adam Kubert that happened. But next week there's going to be an ongoing monthly series with Ryan Stegman on the art, following the universe afterwards, where all 3 have spider powers, and this family dynamic that kind of spinning out the whole Batman as a kid, Superman as a kid, whole family matters type of theme that's going throughout comics right now. But in this situation, I'm doing my own inks for the cover, so I'm going a bit looser with the pencils, and I'm making sure at least the anatomy is correct, and I can have the shapes that I want and the amount of size layered out. You can see the webs aren't fully formed out, and I haven't drawn on Spider-Man's webs yet, but I just want to make sure that everything's prepared, and while I'm doing the editing during the inking phase, I can just kind of erase or add with pencils later on to kind of make the process a bit easier, because doing very final pencils right away, it just accumulates to me drawing the same picture twice. But here you can get a pretty good idea about how I work with familiarity with characters. Spider-Man, who I've drawn many times over my entire life, I've been able to outline very quickly, and then I haven't drawn children too much, so Annie took me a bit longer, and I'm not as familiar with her costume. I did a sketch cover earlier, or a sketch card, but here, for working out Mary Jane's, the first time I actually drew Mary Jane's new costume for the Renew Your Vows storyline. So it was a bit harder to figure out the pose. This ultimately isn't even the final pose I landed on. I actually had her body facing downwards to kind of swing forward like everyone else, whereas here I have her facing a bit up or to the side. So it's not as dynamic forward as I would like that I outlined Annie and Peter in. So in a second here, there's going to be a cut, because I actually thought I was finished and looked at it again and said, no, I want to work out this pose a bit more. So even when you think a work is finished, there's always a little bit more you can do to it. So essentially, I took it off my drafting table, went to my desk where I have my laptop and everything set up, so I was doing editing. I looked at it, it just wasn't right. So then I went back to the recording, and then I went back and fixed the pose, so I had it a bit better organized. But you see I have this whole, see here, so I actually flipped her over, and now I'm redrawing that all out. But I think this is the pose I stuck with. I really like how it came out. I like the whole family, and it's very close together. It's very nicely laid out. And you see in the inking phase, I fleshed it out a bit more, which is the inking video is going to be coming out very soon after this one. But thank you guys for watching, and have a good day.